up, everybody? I'm going to kind of go through the basics of how to tune a bass drum. I'm going to start from essentially heads on the drum. We just put everything back together, as you can maybe see right here. And just go through a couple of the main ideas. I am going to record a separate video for like how to muffle and how to do all the internal type maintenance of things. But to start out, let's talk through how to go and set up a bass drum. So essentially here, I just put the head on. As you can hear, very, very low. And the rim is on, and these lugs are what we call finger tight, which means that I can just turn them to where I can't turn them anymore with my fingers, like so. One other really important thing to pay attention to, which I'm going to show you right now, which hopefully you can see, on the edge of this rim, so here you can see some of the silver. That is the edge of the head, which again, I can kind of pull and shift this rim this way and that. I want to make sure that when I'm lining up the rims here and about to go tighten everything, that I try and get my rim even across the head. Another really good checkpoint, which you can kind of see, hopefully, down here. Let me see if I can get a good view of it. See how there's a little, like I can stick my finger under here. There's a little overlap. I can move it left and right. And then on this side, hopefully, because I pulled it pretty far, it's flush. The goal is to try and get the rim flush with the rim of the head as evenly as possible. Now, this drum's old, these rims are old, and the rim is a little warped, so I'm not gonna be able to do that perfectly, but I'm gonna go around here and try and get it as even as I can and make sure there's no one side that has a huge amount of stick out like this. After I've sort of centered, there's still a little bit of rim there, but now I've made it so where it's a little more even on both sides. There is still a little bit of overlap here, but a lot less than there was. Then there's also a little bit of overlap here. It just happens with older drums. After that, the next thing I'm gonna need is going to be a drum key. So what I'm essentially gonna do is I like to start at the top just so I remember where I'm going. And then I'm going to essentially go and tighten each one in a pattern like this until it's got some notable pitch. For now, I would just do an even, I'll start here and turn it about a full turn while it's super loose, or a half turn, I guess, all the way around. And as I go, just like this, until I get a good amount of tension. Now I've gone around a couple times, probably about a full spin. And again, this is a 24-inch drum, I believe. So you're gonna have different amounts until you feel some tension, but we can actually start to feel it and see that, like, you'll see some of the crinkles when it's when you're first putting on, and now it's kind of just flat. Keep in mind too, this head was already on this drum, so it's already stretched out. So you may hear some cracking, you may see some other stuff, but your main idea here is just to try and get even tension around as possible. But now I'm gonna show you how to essentially go and double check that the tension and that the sounds are the same all the way across. So I'm gonna put the drum up on a stand here and then show you what to do next. So I've got my drum set up again, and now I'm going to take a mallet and I'm going to muffle the drum essentially with my hand and just go around at each lug and listen. If you're new to this, you can also use an app called Tonal Energy. But really what I'm listening for is just higher or lower. But hopefully you can hear that this pitch is a little bit higher than this one. Hopefully that one's audible. I'll go back and double check that in a second. So if I hear that, what I'm gonna then do is go and tighten this one until the pitches are the same. Now, the best way to do this that I like to start out is start by matching the lugs across from each other. Sometimes, especially on bigger drums, this does take trial and error. Also, know that, for instance, this drum already has the other side tuned up, and that one obviously not. So sometimes those things, especially on bigger drums, can influence the sound that you hear, a lot of overtones. That's why I prefer trying to get it as close to the rim as possible. That just helps cut out some of that sound versus, like, you know, a little bit right here. You can still do the same thing. Sometimes it gets hard. I'm not saying I'm perfect at this. Sometimes it takes me multiple tries, but at least once I think I get close, still a little lower down here, but it's closer. Once it's good, then I move to the next pit or next lug. So this one is still higher than this one, but I'm just gonna match my opposites first, and then I'm gonna go back and match all of them together and find the highest pitch and match them all with that. So it's this one. So again, even being an experienced veteran of this, I still sometimes get confused and sometimes have to go back a couple times. As long as you go slow and trust the process, especially when you're starting out, you really can't go wrong. If you feel yourself really cranking down on one lug, you may be hearing the overtones or something like that. So sometimes it's good to either get a second opinion or just reset yourself. But essentially, I'm just going to keep going around. And also keep in mind, when I tune up this lug, it is also going to slightly adjust these two. Same thing across. That's why it's good to make sure that when you're doing this, you're going across. I have seen people that do like this pattern, like 1, 2, here. I think it's just a choice of preference and what you can remember. Another helpful hint is if you're really struggling with hearing overtones or whatnot, what you can do is you can take a blanket or a pillow or something and put the pillow on the ground and then put your drum, like pillow here, drum on top. That'll also help dampen and eliminate some of the sounds that you'll be hearing as well. So that can be helpful, especially when I'm first putting on heads, if I have the ability to. Not only does that help me make sure that the head is level and we don't end up with some of this weird shifting side to side or like warping of the rim because it's flat on the ground if you can, but also it just helps eliminate some overtones to make the tuning process a little bit easier. From there, I'm going to check and see, okay, does this one So this one is still higher than this pair. So what I'm going to take, and I can show you here, this one is this one. Pretty close. This one may be a little bit lower. But then essentially, instead of me just tuning one individual lug, I'm going to tune both of those until, again, these pitches, pretty close. I think this actually went a little bit over. That's okay. But now, as long as these are in tune, I'll double check it again. Still maybe a little lower. It's close, okay? And again, within reason, you're always going to go back and fine tune. So at least at the beginning process of me getting the heads on and getting them cleared, I get as close as possible. Not too picky. Don't if you're, again, if you do this long enough, you're on base 4 or 5, or you're starting out figuring it out. Again, get a second opinion. Don't stress yourself out. Just do your best. And yeah, I'm just going to keep going around. So this one I think is the highest out of the 3. But this one's pretty close. This one's still being a little bit lower. So I'm going to take one more turn at this one. And then again, just keep my work around, because as I tighten this one, it's going to affect the other one. So I'm just going to keep. And it's pretty close. Now, still a little low compared to what the other head is tuned, but it's much closer. This one's still a little lower. But in my opinion, once you have the tension on there too, it also becomes easier. So especially if I'm tuning like a 32, a 30, a 28 or something like that, sometimes I often have to over tune a little bit just to get it to be where I can actually hear if it's the overtones, if it's the resonance of the heads or whatever, or if it's just the impact sound of the head itself. So lights. Nope. Then from there, it's simply a process of figuring out what you want your drums to be tuned at. So what I would do is I would, again, have my phone out, do the exact same thing that I'm doing, or have them be playing, and then I'd hold my phone up, and then it will pick up the overall pitch of the head. So let's look and see what that looks like right now. So I open up Tonal Energy. I go to the app. Depending on what you have it presented as, you may have tuner, you may have sound, all these different things. Now, this app does cost money, but is literally, if there were 3 things I would buy as a bass drummer or as a percussion tech, this would be one of them. So I go to my sound here, okay, and I essentially just hold my mallet up, hit the drum, and it'll pick up what the pitch is of the drum. So you can see here that this is somewhere in between a G and an F sharp. The left head in this case is clocking in slightly lower at F sharp, still maybe a little sharp, but not sitting in between those 2 pitches. And again, I moved the phone to that side of the drum and hit it the same way with the same mallet. Last but not least, after you've done all that same process for both heads, then your goal is simply to match the heads to each other. The best way that I do this is I mute with the other hand on the other side of the drum and listen for the pitch. Okay, so that's going to be the right head. And because my left head is already tuned up or tuned, I'm going to try and match to that one. I've actually overtuned the new head to the one that was already on the other side. So this one is actually higher now. So then I'd go to the other side of the drum or figure out whatever pitch it is. So this is my bass 4. So this is probably needs to be an A, and it was sitting somewhere in that G, F sharp range. And so I just go around again and keep tuning this side up. I double check it, especially if it's a new head. I would double check again that all my lugs are matched. Go and tune the other side up as well. I never go more than probably about a, what would you call this? Quarter of a turn on each one. As I'm getting the drum up to pitch, especially the smaller drums and the higher tension, just because we don't want to pop heads, we don't want to break them. And we want to give them time to stretch and open up. And so essentially, yeah, I just keep going around the drum, checking it every so often, making sure that my lugs are even. And I'm going to actually do 2 on this side because, like I said, this side is actually lower than the other. And I'll check again, and just making sure again that the heads are pitched to the shoulder. And let's see where we're at with this. So I did 1 quarter turn around on this side. I did about a half or 2 quarter turns on this side. Let's see where we're at. Okay. Pretty close. Again, hopefully you can hear this with the video. Side I think is a little bit higher, just a fraction. But again, this is where a second opinion always comes in handy too, because and again, just going back around, these are not by any means perfect, much closer. And then as I'd fine tune, as I'd spend more time doing this, I'd go in and make sure that they were as close as I could get, especially if I'm putting on a new head. And then everything after that is just fine tuning the slow work that you did at the beginning. So I'm gonna, again, post one on the internal side of things, how to muffle, how to set the heads, how to stretch the heads, what you need, lithium grease, all that kind of fun stuff. But thanks for watching. Hopefully this was, hopefully this was helpful. And thanks for trying to get better at bass drumming. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.